Hi guys, it's that Manga Girl, and today for you I have a product review of the QoR Watercolor High Chroma set. QoR Watercolors are a relatively new product made by Golden, who are known, I believe, best for their acrylics. In fact, I have I have titanium white from them, and it's my favorite titanium white, so I think I can vouch for those acrylics. And I understand what everybody's getting at. Can you vouch with just white? Yeah, I think you can. White's a very important color in acrylics. Anyway, let's check this out. I like this because it shows the colors mingling on watercolor paper. Very artistic looking. Oh, I just realized it's a little cube. See, it's a little. No, I'm gonna flip it over. A little cube. And let's see, QoR, and yes, that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, they tell you on their site because you'll be pronouncing QoR, QoR. I guess it looks like QoR. I don't know. I already know how to pronounce it, so I'm a little biased when it comes to that. What I like first and foremost about the box is it looks very artistic, doesn't it? It's just really nice design. And second is the top part can be used as a palette. I myself will not use this as a palette because when it comes to when I get things in sets, I'm a little anal about it is, and I even try to keep everything in the same order. This eventually is abandoned because I am naturally a messy, sloppy person. So it doesn't really... yeah, it doesn't work for me, but I try. Second of all, I got this for free. This is a few watercolor dots, which I have yet to use up completely. I actually said this is Indian Yellow, Cerulean Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Power Red Light, Permanent Alizarin Crimson, and Burnt Sienna Natural. I haven't used them all up because I don't know. I kind of want to just keep them until I buy the colors, because I actually do plan to buy Indian Yellow and Power Red Light and Burnt. Yeah, I plan to buy this. Yeah. Then they give you a little color chart, which I'm very appreciative of. Because even though you can find online, I do like having it in my hands. Now, the claim with QoR watercolors are that they are just as vibrant dry as they are wet, and as you know in watercolors, it's a learning curve. Your watercolors are going to dry much lighter than when you put them down, depending on the colors. Some colors not so much, and it's just something you learn how to deal with in watercolor, and eventually you get this instinct, this sense, and you can usually figure out how it'll look once it's dry. These are supposed to help you just kind of completely avoid that curve of pale colors and, as I think someone on YouTube says, wimpy watercolors. Yeah, and I like strong color in watercolor. And those are the claims. And let's read what they got here. QoR Modern Watercolors. Deep, rich, beautiful color. QoR's exclusive binder gives color greater intensity and clarity while retaining the best qualities of traditional watercolors. QoR offers a strength, range, and versatility unmatched in the history of watercolors. Those are some pretty big claims. Now, I've already used them, and that's why there's no plastic over them, and why this little guy over here is kind of messy. Because, yeah, it's like this tube and this tube, like, spilling out if I leave it open too long. Which I don't really mind, because I usually screw that top on pretty fast. But it happens in watercolors. You actually want to, depending on the watercolor brand, you might want to actually open it up and put it near your palette, just in case it spills out. I mean, the colors that came in the high chroma set are quinacridone magenta, dioxazine purple, transparent pyro orange, quinacridone gold, green gold, and cobalt teal. Now, I was a little worried regarding the colors because I was like, what can I use as my yellow, what can I use as my red, and what can I use as my blue? Well, mixing quinacridone magenta and the transparent pyro orange will give you a red. Quinacridone gold thinned out will give you a very sunny yellow. Sadly, there's no real blue. This is teal. And as much as I love teal, that's no real blue. So you're just gonna have to use another blue. Yeah, and let us see how these colors stack up against some of my other colors in my palette. This is the watercolor chart I made of the colors. As you can see, oh, let me not flip that over. I'm sorry, I always end up flipping the video at the end. So flipping it over will just make it upside down anyway. And I have to say that when I painted these and watched them dry, and I will put up a picture of them wet versus dry, I saw a minimal color shift. And as much minimal color shift, it stayed relatively the same color, considering the fact that when anything is wet, it becomes darker and richer in color than when it's dry, be it clothes, your hair, or anything of the sort. Now I'd like to discuss palette color options as far as that, and to compare some of the colors. Now, I really like QoR's wet into wet activation. Is that what it's called? They rival M. Graham's in my opinion. As far as that, I know a couple of people say they feel more like acrylic ink. I feel like watercolors to me. And let's see them wet into wet. Now we're going to do a color comparison. This isn't really an fair, because this is just Daniel Smith's. I'm watching this way. Daniel Smith's quinacridone and gold, which is one pigment, and the QoR's is two pigments, but they're supposed to be the same color, so we'll give it a go. Yeah, see how that just completely runs into the water. Daniel Smith has good blending ability too. I don't know why I felt the need to be nice. I guess because I don't want to just put it down. And we'll do a color comparison. So I like all the watercolors on my palette. Well, except one. So what happens when you buy stuff without paying attention. This is the Dioxin Purple from Holbein. It's a little pinker, even though on the screen I can see it's appearing bluer and duller. My camera, darn it. And this is the QoR Dioxin Purple. Dioxin Purple, I hope I'm saying that right. And you can see it's bluer in hue and much darker than Holbein's. And I can find uses for both of them. Personally would like Holbein more for candy colored paintings because it's much pinker in hue than this one. This is almost a near black, which is really nice. The paper I'm using is R Squall Press, by the way. And you may have noticed these full tubes. I got them because some of my tubes were half empty, and I emailed the company. And they happily gave me those as payment and apologized about that and said they were working on it, because if you read Amazon reviews, you may notice that some of their tubes come half empty. And I gotta say, I believe it's good customer service, because I got an email right away, right back, and they've straightened everything out. And I'm gonna give them acknowledgments, because I was really impressed. You can see you can make a red, mixing the transparent pyro orange and quinacridone magenta. I'm just going to go through color options that you don't have an outright red. You don't really have an outright green. The green gold is yellow green. You don't have an outright blue, and you don't have an outright brown or gray. So through mixing, you can get a red. You can get several different types of green by mixing the Quin Gold. Oh my gosh, that was Daniel Smith's Quin Gold. Oops. Wasn't paying attention. You can get that type of green. Or you can get a green by mixing your handmade green, your green gold with it, and you can get several different types of greens by mixing. Not how people like their greens. You can get a brown just by, there's several ways to get a brown, but this is the quickest way in my opinion, by mixing your orange with your purple. And depending on how you want that brown to be, you can get a really nice chocolatey brown. and how you mix it. Sorry to say, you cannot mix yourself an outright blue. You just gotta have to use your ultramarine or your cobalt for that, or buy it. And you can't mix a gray. No matter how many colors you mix together, it will always just turn into some type of brown. And I almost feel it's because the colors are clean in a way. They feel clean to me. But anyway, as you can see, those are the colors you can make. Am I missing a color? And there's the comparison. Still a little, this one's still a little wet. They're both a little wet of the colors. I personally like the diffusion into the water that QoR has better than Daniel Smith. But I'm mostly a Holbein M-gram girl anyway. And we will be getting a speed paint. Like I said, you can't mix a gray, which is very disappointing. So in the speed paint, you'll see I'm actually using Holbein's Payne's gray. But we're going to see. I want to test it out just using 6 colors besides that gray from it. We're going to, this is my original sketch. And this is the finished product. So we're going to see how I got there. And I will talk a little bit more about my feelings for the QoR Watercolor brand. Okay, so the QoR watercolors were, well, when I was first doing the skin, I wanted to do a very pinkish skin tone, which I used the quinacridone magenta for, but I also wanted to use teal, the cobalt teal in there because I like the whole blue-pink effect. And as far as skin blending goes, because I do a lot of blending in watercolors with skin, QoR watercolors blend very, very nice. They kind of remind me of my Winsor and Newton inks, which if I used in conjunction with my watercolors, they would kind of seep into the watercolors, almost overtaking them, but they would blend very smoothly. I should add that Lee. And the color choices in the whole set, I'm going to buy every single one of those colors because I love the cobalt teal. I didn't even care that it granulated, and I don't like using granulating colors for like hair and things, and even the skin. And it wasn't so bad with the skin because I didn't use large, highly concentrated amounts, so it went all right. You can see some granulation in the skin, just a little bit, just a hint, but it doesn't really matter. I know some people love granulating, but I don't really like it for skin or hair or things that I want to look smooth. I like it for jeans or background or etc. etc. So yeah, the blending power of the QoR watercolors is a large selling point to me, and they kind of do. I mean, they kind of do dry the same color that you put down. Because of that, I had to be very careful with the skin, and it's off camera. I accidentally made skin too dark, and I had to scrub it out. And you can notice it a little on the leg, but you'll never see it because I did that off camera, because that would have taken too long to film. And as far as mixing the colors, I had no problem mixing red, no problem mixing brown. I mean, brown's just pyro orange, purple. Pyro orange, purple. And the color choices that went into this, I sketched it out first and then put some Copic on top of the sketch to see what I want. And I was inspired by, as far as the color choices for the uniform, you see a little skip. It was, I've been watching Gakko Gurashi, so that kind of inspired the color choices, although it might not seem that way. I don't know. Yeah, but I was like, can you hear me moving? You probably can hear that on camera. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can't make it gray. However, it kind of looked gray when I mixed purple with blue and highly diluted it. It became this ugly type of dull purple. So I used that for the shadows and the clothes. And I used green gold for the uniform, which was giving me a lot of trouble. The uniform skirt was I had to scrub all the color completely off to redo shadows because I don't know what I did. but it just wasn't working out, and it actually turned out alright. And for the shadows, I just mixed green gold with purple. I realized purple was my friend. I had to mix purple and a lot of things just to get a darker hue, and I'm so glad I turned the volume down. I'm just saying that because I see stuff popping up and I can tell it would be making noise right now on this video. Yeah, Cobalt Teal is probably my favorite. I just love turquoisey colors. And this is like the perfect turquoise color. Because it's just... it's not opaque like the other turquoise I have. And it dries practically the same color. And it's awesome. Just love this color. And when I was drawing this my original drawing was actually a girl standing with the bat, and no, a girl standing with have you ever watched Kill Bill? The high school girl in Kill Bill, that part where I can't remember the main character's name, just slicing through people, that ball and chain, that thing Link has that knocks the people out, that ball and chain. The girl originally had a ball and chain, and she was standing, and the bunny rabbit, the one with the bazooka, originally had the bat with all the nails in it. And I changed that so she had the bat with the nails in it, and she had a more dynamic pose, and I drew some bunnies with their heads all cut off, hanging on ropes, because that's how it works in this world. And so, in this whole drawing, even though I tried to use only QoR watercolors, they didn't make a gray, so later on you'll see I use my Payne's gray, which is a Holbein's Payne's gray, for all the gray needed, like her, like the bazooka, and the bunny's eye patch, which after I drew it, I really wish I would have made it into a shape, like, from Kill La Kill, how, what's her name? I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name, but she had the other scissor blade half. And if you haven't, sorry, spoilers for Kill La Kill. Anyway, I'm not going to say her name. Since I don't remember her name, I can't even spoil it for you. But she had like an eye patch with a flower on it. And I wish I would have made it into a heart or something. But in the end, I just gave it some writing. Which you can read the writing. It's backwards. It's upside down. If you flip the picture, you can read the writing. And I added a kawaii potato because every time I Google kawaii, because I felt the need to Google kawaii a lot during this drawing, I kept getting kawaii potato, and eventually I just like, what's kawaii potato? And I watched the video, and it was kind of funny, so I added in kawaii potato. Because as a whole, me and my brother just make fun of that because people like saying kawaii, so we'll just like if you, like, I told my brother I'm not gonna use kawaii in regular conversation, but I might name a picture, like, say I drew Knuckle Joe from the Kirby series, I'd be all, Kawaii Knuckle Joe. And here's me adding shadows, because I just wanted to look like more of a stage that everything was hanging on, so there's shadows for the bunny heads and the stars. And I don't know, I like this picture. It came out better than I thought it was going to. There's several times I was just like, oh, I screwed it up. I can use my pencils here. I use the watercolors, and then for things that the watercolors couldn't use, I used colored pencils, and I used gouache for the writing. And I was trying to say the original idea came from back when I was still going to my night classes for Japanese 1. Everybody, we had to take a katakana quiz, and everybody was like, I'm not ready for this katakana quiz. And I was like, I'm ready for this katakana quiz. But everyone's like, oh no, katakana quiz. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll draw a picture with the katakana words like kawaii as, and that'll just be like, I don't know, motivation for me to do better, because no one in my class actually saw this, but I was like, motivation for me to do better, and it'll be a little funny, because I'll look back on this and just remember how everybody didn't want that quiz. Yeah, night classes were fun. I got to meet people, but it was cold as fudge after that class ended. And I've got a new appreciation for gouache after doing these. I want to study with gouache more. And there's my dad. Hi, Dad.
Hi, I just wanted to say hello to the beautiful lady.
Thank you.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
My dad's awesome. I hit my elbow. Dad, you're on YouTube now. I'm not sure he got the gist of that though. Anyway, I know, you know what? He probably got the gist of that. Anyway, I had to re-outline everything because after I'm done painting, I always have to re-outline everything. And for her eyes, I was looking at Ranji Murata illustrations, and I noticed in some of his newer ones, the eyes will have like this blue sheen for the bottom part. So I was like, how do I get this blue sheen in traditional? And I think I overdid it just a smidgen, but next time it'll be better. I like took white, Copic opaque white, and mixed it with the cobalt teal, thinned it out, and then did a thin layer over it. It's kind of hard. You see, I'm using a lot of Copic opaque white. I love that mess. It's so opaque. So stupidly awesome opaque. And you can see I'm using my white jelly roll. And I like that sock. The striped sock. I'm going to do more pictures of striped socks. I like those striped socks. And this is me going through my container. And I was like... I was looking for yellow gouache because I needed it. And I was like, where are you, Holbein yellow gouache? Where are you, Holbein yellow gouache? Where are you, Holbein yellow gouache? I needed it for the bat. And then I realized the reason I couldn't find my gouache was because I didn't buy Holbein yellow gouache. I bought M-Gram yellow gouache, and I was like, oh, I was looking forever. It's like, so I found that I was happy, but I felt like a dummy. It was like, because I didn't buy any of the yellow gouache in the Holbein series, because none of them, I didn't want any of them. I could get the M-Gram almost just as cheap, and here I'm outlining everything with white. Did you hear me crack my knuckles? Gosh, I gotta stop doing that. Yeah, I was outlining everything with white because I wanted it to pop. And I felt a little sloppy in some of the outlining, but it wasn't terrible. I mean, it's better than how I used to outline stuff. But just, every time I outline things in white, I get nervous because I'm scared I'll cover up too much. And I gave it a border, and you see this border, the border looks kind of sloppy because I didn't use the masking tape beforehand. I just decided to add that border later. I was like, it needs a border. And it's like, I painted over it by accident. I was like, that's what Copic opaque white's for. And then I will use my lace doilies later to add some hints of background acrylic paint. Acrylic ink, which is waterproof, so I like it. It's waterproof, Copic proof, or alcohol-based marker proof, so be careful, it will smear. You used it for blood splatters, and I'm just gonna say now, I learned an important lesson doing these blood splatters. Using a cotton ball or tissue paper makes the best type of blood stains on clothing and skin and fabric and such. Just a thought I found out. And yeah, those flowers are vomiting rainbows. You know, people are always like, I'm throwing up rainbows. I was like, let me draw a flower vomiting rainbows. And if you can read the writing in the back, that's cool. I'm not going to tell you what it says. But if you can read it in the back, that's great. I want someone to be able to read it. Yeah, but we're winding down to the end of the video. Thank you, guys, for watching. I'm really hungry, and I can't wait to get some bean dip. And I'll just say last words on QoR Watercolors. Yes, they are worth it. They do dry more vibrant than most other watercolors I see. They last a long time. I mean, I'm not even halfway through the 5mm tubes, and I have been using them and practicing on them. And the set I got, the high chroma set, is really versatile. You just don't have a proper blue, and I already got it. And bye, everyone. I'm already gonna buy more. Thanks for watching. Yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, bye.